Everyone. My name's Sybil Flora. You just heard speaking Brian Siegel. He is with Enterprise Services. Also on the line, I know we have Grace Hahn with us this morning. Just to let you all know how this is working, they are in the DC area with Enterprise Services. They're running the webinar. They will take over at times to do a demonstration of the software so that we can see it in real time versus seeing it in PowerPoint slides. And I go to shut the door and I hear somebody coming down this problem when you come in the room. So I do want to thank everyone for coming to today's Manager Self-Service Instructor-Led Training for NPC Managers. And then I do want to thank Brian and Grace for all their help today. We are excited to work with you, and we do appreciate your time and participation this morning. Some of you may already be familiar with Enterprise Services Portal through participating in integrated project team meetings, working sessions, and bureau readiness activities. Thank you for your ongoing partnership. On the other hand, some of you may be seeing the Enterprise Service Portal for the first time. Various trainings through the new service portal are available as web-based trainings on the Commerce Learning Center for managers and employees. And there are also helpful quick reference guides, or QRGs, that can be found on the portal. For today's training, we will be focusing on manager self-service in HRConnect. By the end of this session, we hope you will have the information and tools you need to perform your responsibilities. Next slide, please. We'll talk about the purpose of Enterprise Services overall and provide a brief overview of Enterprise Services and the PAR, Payroll and Benefits transition. Next, we'll go over accessing HRConnect and authenticating HRConnect accounts with a live demo of the system. We will then dive deeper into PAR submission and the role you play in that process as we walk you through more live demonstrations of submitting PAR transactions in HRConnect. We'll end the course by answering any outstanding questions and reviewing the resources available to help you in the transition. Next slide. These topics are based on the course objectives. So by the end of the course, you'll be able to access HRConnect, understand the roles and responsibility of Bureau HR, Enterprise Services, managers, and their proxies in the PAR submitting process, communicating through secure channels when handling personally identifiable information, or PII, submit PAR actions with all required attachments and approvals, identify and explain the impact of the standardized timeline for PAR submissions, troubleshoot common pain points in the PAR submission process. And our goal for today's webinar is to provide you with the training and resources you need to successfully apply the new standardized PAR processing guidelines and to better understand your role in the PAR submission process. During today's webinar, we will provide an update on Enterprise Services, discuss the changes that have been made to the standard PAR submission process, and discuss what this means to you. We'll also have a chance to see these new guidelines for managers and proxies in practice through a demonstration of HRConnect. Next slide, please. Please take some time to review these ground rules. Please don't hesitate to post questions or send us a message using the questions or chat features in the GoToWebinar or to ask questions here in the room. If we cannot answer all the questions due to time, or if there's a question that we cannot answer on the line, we are documenting all the questions and we'll follow up individually over email. And what we're also doing is making a collection of all the questions that get asked in these sessions, and we'll provide everyone the same list of questions and the same answers because different things come up in different sessions that are important to everyone. So we want to make sure everybody gets the information. We ask you actively participate and engage in the session. Please, whatever that means to you, close out your email, put your phone away, and minimize any other distractions. And finally, please provide us with feedback. We want to make this session as useful to you as possible, and we'll share a brief survey at the conclusion of the course. We're going to jump to our first module, Enterprise Services Overview. Next slide.
Hey, Sybil, before we start Module 1, Tracy, are you on? She texted me that she'll be jumping over any second, and that she would like time to just thank everyone, and then she said you can go on with the rest of the module. It sounds like Tracy has not joined yet. Tracy, are you on? Okay. Let's go on with Module 1, right. But whenever she joins, I'll text you.
Okay, I'm not carrying my phone while I talk.
Oh, Tracy said she was talking. Tracy, if you can hear us, I think you have to dial with the audio.
Sorry.
Brian, do you know what the audio pin
is? Let me double check on that just to see if Tracy's with us and we can take her off mute if that's the case.
Okay. I'm looking at their attendees. Let me see.
Yeah, I don't see Tracy on the attendees. However,
she has to that was
And can we go ahead with our slide, and when Tracy can jump on, she can jump on?
That sounds good.
All right. We'll go through an overview of enterprise services and the PAR payroll and benefits transition. After completing this module, you'll be able to explain the purpose of enterprise services, identify the go-live date, and understand the PAR payroll and benefits transition and impacts. Understand how enterprise services and NPC Human Resources branch are partnering to deliver a seamless experience for customers. Next slide, please. Probably need to use phone, whoever. Brian, do you have everybody muted? You're getting a lot of noise.
Yes, I will make sure to mute everyone now. So to our organizers, some of you might be off mute, so just mute yourself if you're not participating. And yeah, we should be good to go, Sybil.
All right, thanks. Enterprise Services provides mission-enabling shared service solutions to the Department of Commerce. One way they do this is through integrated HR services. Integrated Human Resource Video provides more background about enterprise services HR model within the scope of services that will transition. Brian, you can go ahead and start the video.
All right, thanks, Sybil. Yep, what I'll be doing now is exiting the presentation and just going to our video that we'll be sharing. Just as a quick plug, this is part of our Enterprise Services YouTube channel. So this video, as well as several others, are available to you at any time. So you will receive the link to this video and to our channel in general, where you can check these videos out. This one, again, is about our integrated human resources approach. Just one small detail. I am projecting here from the Herbert Hoover building, and I will be holding my computer close to the conference line, and hopefully everyone will be able to hear. It's a highly visual video with a lot of text, so you'll be able to get a lot out of it. Aside from the audio, hopefully there are no issues in hearing, but again, I'll be holding it up to the speaker so that everyone can hear it from the conference line. So I'll get started right now.
Welcome. Enterprise Services is committed to the operational excellence of the Department of Commerce. As part of this commitment, the team is enabling the seamless delivery of human resources, or HR, services to customers and employees. This means that the Department of Commerce's Office of HR Management, the current HR offices and the bureaus, and the HR service delivery elements of enterprise services work together to deliver the best possible customer service. It is truly an integrated HR delivery system. It took us a long time to work out the details of what that would look like. HR leadership and customers across every bureau and office of the Department of Commerce spent months working together to develop a new way of delivering HR services to put the customer first. This integrated HR model provides a renewed focus on an enhanced customer experience for HR customers, including managers, employees, and applicants, standardized HR processes across bureaus, and high quality of service. The benefits of the integrated HR model include enhanced quality assurance for leadership across the department, increased HR processing efficiency for HR professionals in the bureaus, access to a one-stop shop for enterprise services HR, a streamlined and paperless experience for customers, and most importantly, strengthened focus on the Department of Commerce and the Bureau's mission. Enterprise services helps deliver the primarily transactional HR tasks so that the bureaus and their HR staff can focus on strategic human capital activities. We will get there largely enabled by technology. Enterprise services will assist the Department of Commerce and its bureaus in the migration to the Enterprise Services Portal, our shared technology platform for initiating HR actions, tracking status of open actions, and accessing on-demand information, including standard operating procedures, training materials, frequently asked questions, and other reference materials. A key feature of Enterprise Services HR is the self-service functionality available to managers through HRConnect. Managers can navigate to HRConnect through the Enterprise Services portal to initiate personnel action requests. Once actions are submitted to Enterprise Services for processing, they will be assigned a ticket and their status can be tracked in the portal. Enterprise Services offers a range of HR services. One example of these services is employees' payroll transactions, such as setting up a direct deposit. Employees can set this up themselves straight from the portal. We have talked about the role of enterprise services, but the existing HR offices and staff at the provider bureaus or at Commerce headquarters will continue to have a huge role. HR staff will continue to house all HR experts of various HR disciplines. As services transition from HR staff to enterprise services, the HR staff will increasingly be able to focus more on strategic HR tasks where their expertise is most valuable, such as workforce planning. Not sure who to contact? You can always reach out to the contact center, where anyone can talk to a customer service representative for help by calling 888-316-2285. The contact center is open from Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Customers can also submit a request for support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through the portal, or send an email to enterpriseservices@doc.gov. We are glad to have you working with us as we move toward a more fully integrated HR services delivery. With an integrated HR services delivery to unite enterprise services, the Department of Commerce, and HR staff, we will deliver a strong connection with seamless service. Thank you for watching, and continue to keep an eye out for further updates from Enterprise Services.
Tracy, if you wanted to go ahead and speak while we're transitioning back to the PowerPoint, that'd be great.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
This is Tracy. Oh, perfect. So, yeah, sorry that I was late. I really wanted to kick this off for you this morning and really thank you, Sybil, for the amazing job that you've been doing this week, helping us get the training done out there. We couldn't obviously have done this without you. You're great. I'd love to keep using you as a resource for this training. We can talk more about that later. But just wanted to let everyone know we're really committed to helping you all with your role in this transition, and really excited about the opportunity to bring enterprise services to NPC. So please, as Sybil said, participate in this training. It's for you. Ask your questions. There's no silly questions. You know, if for some reason we don't have the answer for you today, we'll get it to you. You'll get all these resources, the training deck, and so on, to use and to refer back to. We do have folks coming out next week. Our HR SMEs, the director of the HR Tower here, LaMarsha DeMar, will be there to help, you know, hands-on with the HR folks and managers and employees with really what these changes mean to you. We will continue to support that. I plan to come out again, not next week because it's going to be a busy week for you all there, and LaMarsha will be there, but we're definitely dedicated to making this transition as smooth as possible for you all, and we will be there to help, not just, you know, that first week or the second week, but ongoing to make sure that you all have what you need. We realize this is a big change. So thanks, Sybil, again. Thank you so much for your unflagging efforts this week. So appreciative. And everyone enjoy the training. And I'm here if you need me. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. Brian, if you want to go ahead and advance to the next slide, please. You'll see here Enterprise Services mission and vision. Enterprise Services aims to provide innovative, data-driven, and customer-centric services that enable their commerce colleagues to dedicate themselves wholly to creating the conditions for economic growth and opportunity in America. As a result, Enterprise Services hopes to enhance the customer experience, improve performance management, strengthen mission focus, and reduce operating costs. We will focus on HR for today, but Enterprise Services also offers acquisition and IT services and eventually financial management services to the Department of Commerce. In partnership with NPC, they aim to deliver integrated, high-caliber, and seamless HR services and experiences. Now that we've covered the overall purpose of Enterprise Services, let's talk about the HR services and technology that are part of the upcoming transition. Next slide, please. On 8/5, the go-live date, Enterprise Services is excited to launch new ways for NPC to request PAR, payroll, and benefits services. Managers' proxies will initiate PAR in HRConnect. Enterprise Services will process, relieving local HR of time-consuming transactional tasks to focus on strategic HR work. Payroll and benefits transactions are initiated in EPP or Enterprise Services Portal. Enterprise Services provides payroll and benefits processing services to all employees, relieving local HR of time-consuming transactional tasks to again focus on strategic HR work. Employees will use Enterprise Services Portal to initiate requests, track status, access training and resources, and contact Enterprise Services. Employees use the Enterprise Service Contact Center to address HRConnect, PAR, payroll, benefits, questions, or inquiries. Next slide, please. Enterprise Services and NPC HRD are partnering to deliver a seamless experience for customers. Requests are initiated by employees, managers, proxies, or HR professionals. In our planning, we have segmented the PAR, payroll, and benefits processes into 3 different categories. First, transactional HR processes owned by Enterprise Services. Next are HR processes that require a handoff between Enterprise Services and HRB. And then strategic HR processes owned by HRB. These groupings indicate the type of role you will play in either guiding customers to Enterprise Services, partnering with us to deliver services, or delivering the service on your own. Just as a side note here, any manager who is considering any type of adverse action, that is any action that involves employee labor relations section of HRB, will continue to contact the Employee Labor Relations section of HR for guidance on a plan for initiating any adverse actions. That is not just terminations and suspensions of 14 days or more. We're calling almost everything that group does as adverse action. So we've gone over the foundational understanding of Enterprise Services and what's changing, thanks to the expertise and experience of our local HRB staff who have helped build the processes and test the portal. We're going to do a quick knowledge check of what we've covered so far. Next question. All right. Enterprise Services' mission is to deliver which of the following offerings to the Department of Commerce and its customers? An enhanced customer experience, improved performance management, strengthened mission focus, reduced operating costs, A and B, or all of the above? All of the above, good. Let's close this module out by reviewing our learning objectives. Just take a second to review the learning objectives and confirm you feel comfortable doing these things. What is our go live date? Oh, good. That's Sunday. For anyone who hasn't looked at a calendar. Are there any questions on what we've covered so far? Okay, Brian, let's move on. We're going to dive into our second module, an introduction to HRConnect. For my help this morning, do we have someone that's going to demo HRConnect, or are we going to use the slides?
Hi, Sybil. I believe Laura is on the line to help us with this demonstration. Laura, I think what you can do now is take control of the presentation and start up this demonstration.
Great. So Laura's going to walk us through this module where we're going to get an overview of how to access HRConnect and authenticate your account. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Very well. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Yes, I will show my screen now. All right. And you should be able to see the Enterprise Services Portal homepage, the login screen right now?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Sounds good. So now we'll walk you through how to get to HRConnect through the Enterprise Services Portal. And just to let you know, HRConnect is a web-based human resources system. It provides a variety of manager self-service features, including access to personal data and position management, as well as the ability to submit requests for personnel actions on behalf of employees. And so with manager self-service, you can initiate and submit these requests directly. Within HRConnect, when you assign a title and a set of responsibilities to an employee, HRConnect automatically updates that employee's role within its system. Managers and HR professionals can access HRConnect via the portal to submit PARs for processing. We encourage you to access HRConnect through the portal, and HRConnect is an existing service you can access from outside the portal as well. So we'll show you both how to do that. However, the portal does provide important information and context related to the process you are looking to complete. All right, so I'm going to navigate to the Enterprise Services Portal, and we suggest that you bookmark it for easy reference. You can start by selecting your bureau from the drop-down menu here, and then you can scroll down and find it and log in through single sign-on or your other bureau credentials. I'm going to log in another way just so I can get into my test environment here. You want to make sure that you are connected to a Department of Commerce or Bureau network on your government-furnished computer, and you also want to connect through VPN or the virtual private network. So you can access this Enterprise Services Portal without, you cannot access this Enterprise Services Portal if you aren't connected to a Bureau network or VPN. So if you try to navigate to the site and you find that you can't get in, you might not be on an intranet. All right, now you are going to navigate to the Human Resources tab, which is at the top here. And if you look on the left-hand side of the screen, you can click on Services for Managers. And you will be taken to this screen. Here there are many different tiles for managers. You can set up a WebTV profile, initiate employee incentive to payouts, submit employee subsidy, submit employee pay advance requests, all these various things. And you can also initiate a PAR in HRConnect. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this tile here. If you scroll down a bit, you'll find a lot of useful information. You can learn about various ways to submit PARs, the processes for these things, all kinds of QRGs, which are quick reference guides, knowledge articles, all other kinds of things are housed on this portal. And then to actually initiate the PAR, you can click on HRConnect, which is hyperlinked right here in the text. You can also click it via the sidebar. So you can do either one, or it'll take you directly to the site. Once you get to the site, your site page is going to look like this to start off with. And then you can click on Don't Have an HRConnect Account at the top here. All right, and my Google Chrome always does this. Actually, speaking of browsers, the preferred browser for the Enterprise Services Portal, which is this main site, is Google Chrome, but Treasury recommends using the latest version of Internet Explorer for HRConnect, which is this site. However, any browser will work for either of the sites. So those are just the preferred ones based on the system administrators. Okay, so now to actually authenticate into HRConnect, which means logging in for the first time, you are going to go to this screen and enter your official business email address. This is the one that ends in the @doc.gov or other government email. And then you're going to enter your last name, which is going to be the one on your passport or your driver's license. Enter the last 4 digits of your social security number. And remember, this is a secured system going through the intranet or a virtual private network. So you don't have to worry about any kind of problems or other information leaks on here. And then you will enter, you will also enter your temporary registration PIN. And this, a lot of people have questions about what a temporary registration PIN is. If you hover over the question mark, you can see, get a little bit more information about it. It's just 4 more numbers that don't begin with 0, and you're only going to use this PIN once. So once you make up a PIN, it can be 1234, it can be 9999. You just need this for the second step of the registration process. So you'll make up a 4 more number PIN here, and then go ahead and click submit. After that, you'll be sent an email relatively quickly to your email address, and you can click on the link in there. It's a hyperlink, and I believe it starts with PWMS. And it'll take you back into this HRConnect site. And after that, you're going to enter a new password and then enter the same registration PIN. So if you made it 1234 before, you're going to enter 1234 again, and then click submit. I'm going to go back to the main site, and then once you click submit, you'll be able to sign in. Once you sign in for the first time, you'll never have to do this again. So as soon as you authenticate, you are good to go. All right, so we're just going to sign into the system now. All right, and we are in. So the only other thing I want to tell you about, I'm going to demo more about the HRConnect system later and explain how to submit a PAR and other things. But one thing is, if you are authenticating for the first time into this system, then the default is to have your workflow notification settings turned on. These workflow notification settings are an email that is sent auto-generated from HRConnect, and it lets you know when you have something in your work list, which means that you have a PAR action that you need to approve. These emails are very useful because you will know right away when you have to do something in HRConnect, and you don't have to log into the system to figure out what you need to do. So we really recommend that you have these workflow notification settings turned on. The default setting when you set up your account is to have them turned on. So if you're authenticating and you log in for the first time, you're all good to go and you don't have anything to do. However, if you've maybe played around with the settings or you've been in HRConnect before, then I'd ask that you go to workflow notification settings here on the right-hand side of the screen. And as soon as this loads, just ensure that you have both of these options here unchecked. If you read them carefully, they say turn off my email notifications. So if you ended up maybe checking these, then you won't get any notifications. So you want to make sure that both of these are unchecked so that you get email notifications. All right, well, that is all I have to say today. So I'll come back in a later module and explain more about HRConnect and actually submitting TARDIS.
All right. We had a little technical issue here. My computer seems to have downloaded some new software and restarted. But we are on
no problem.
That's okay. We're on slide number 21.
Yeah, sounds good.
So Laura, feel free to hand off the presentation to me, and we can keep the PowerPoint moving.
Okay, sounds good.
I think it's in there.
So, Sybil, again, these slides basically correspond to the demonstration that Laura just did. So again, we've shown you how to access HRConnect from the portal. We talked about, again, this is the pathway from the portal to get to HRConnect. Then we talked about, authenticating our account. So if you want to take it from here, feel free, and we can move on. Did you say 21, or would you like to start here?
We can start here. This is good.
Okay, great. So it's all yours.
All right. Grant emailed managers, and I'm not sure if everyone sent it to their proxies or not, but there is an HRConnect Manager Self-Service Quick Reference Guide. It's a step-by-step guidance on accessing HRConnect. Workflow notifications should already be turned on as a default mode in your HRConnect account. So you don't want to change your default settings. If you do not receive workflow notifications and you think you should be, my first suggestion is check your Clutter email, because I train mine to send things like that to Clutter. You may have also trained your email to send those to Clutter. But if you look in Clutter and you're still not getting notifications, please contact the Enterprise Service Contact Center to submit a ticket for help. Excuse me. So I just referenced the HRConnect Manager Self-Service Quick Reference Guide. Even though some of you got this in email, it's available to everyone on the portal. They have a very robust help section and library. It's really best to use them from there because they're going to update them. And the updated version will be the one available to you on the Enterprise Services portal. If you rely on one you printed or were sent an email, it may become out of date. Next slide, please. So if you do not receive workflow notifications, please do the following of these two choices for a first step. Should you change your HR account account's default settings, or should you contact Enterprise Services Contact Center? Contact Center. Great. Let's look at the objectives we have for this module. So please take a second here. We had, having completed this module, you should be able to access HRConnect from the portal. Are there any questions about doing that?
Sybil, I have one.
All right.
If we've been in HRConnect before, does this right here nullify what we've?
No. So Ruby's asking if everyone has to go back in and re-authenticate. You do not. If you have authenticated yourself in HRConnect, not everybody has, then you're good to go.
No, I mean.
You're good to go. If you authenticated yourself in HRConnect once, you do not have to do it again.
Okay. No, that's not what I mean.
I'm sorry, I thought that's what you asked.
You know, we had that 6-digit user ID in HRConnect before all of this started. So will this now nullify that 6-digit user ID where we had numerics before?
So now when we go into HRConnect, you can put in a number It's like a 6-digit number, and then we put in our password and we're in.
Okay.
Does this negate all that and we start over?
No, you can use the number or your email address.
Yeah.
No. I know, but I think what we're asking is, we just got a demonstration on this new system and how to authenticate and all of that. What we want to know is, will we have to start all over? So our current username and password will work on Monday.
Correct.
I think I can chime in here too again. This is Laura on the line. The Enterprise Services portal is new, but the HRConnect system is still the same as it was before. So although you can hyperlink from the portal to the HRConnect system, the HRConnect system is not new and we're not changing your account at all. So if you've already gone into HRConnect using your old employee ID and email address that you've already put in there, then you are good. No need to authenticate. Just use your old your old employee ID or email address and your old password, and you can still get in.
So that would probably be true for most people here.
I think so.
Okay.
Todd, you had a question.
I guess my point is that if I want to do a PAR, I can just go to HRConnect directly, though, versus going to the portal, right?
The difference is you wouldn't have access to the library and the help that the portal gives you to support you doing that.
But when I'm in the portal and I go to HRConnect, I'll leave the portal anyway, right?
The portal, it should come up in a new window or a new tab.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So the portal remains open and HRConnect comes up in a new tab. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, let's move on to the next slide, please, Brian. So we're going to jump into our third module here, and it is PAR submission process and your role as managers and proxies. Next slide, please. This module will provide an overview of PAR submission and processing guidelines. After completing this module, you'll be able to understand common PAR processing keywords, describe enterprise service PAR processing guidelines, and differentiate roles and responsibilities between managers, their proxies, HRB, and enterprise services. Understand the enterprise service notification process for incomplete or late PARs, including the restart and pushback functionality. And understand Know Your Part to support timely PAR processing. Next slide, please. To set clear expectations for processing personnel actions with customers, Enterprise Services established the following definitions. A personnel action request, PAR, or an SF-52, which is used to document personnel actions, requests, including appointments, promotions, reassignments, separations, etc. HRConnect is the Department of Commerce's primary human resource management system that provides a broad range of applications, services, and information to HR offices, employees, and managers. HRConnect assists the Department of Commerce in managing human capital and organizational data for strategic decision-making. It allows you the capability of initiating paperless personnel actions and electronically routing those actions for approval, increasing transparency and improving auditability. Manager Self-Service, or MSS, is a module within HRConnect specifically for managers. Managers can use MSS, Manager Self-Service, to initiate and approve PARs, view employee data, view position information, and run general reports. For a list of many personnel actions that can be initiated via Manager Self-Service, along with the summary of documentation required for proper submission, please reference the required attachments for quick reference guide, for PARs, quick reference guide. Again, this is one of the things Grant sent out to managers, and it is available on the portal. It's a 7-page document. It's a nice chart spreadsheet. showing you each type of PAR action, what documents you have to attach to it so the PAR will be processed. The nature of action code, or NOAC, is the specific personnel action used to create or change a civilian personnel record. This is really more relevant for HR staff, but we wanted to share it with you for context, background, and PAR knowledge. Next slide, please. Enterprise Services has established a standardized process for PAR submission and processing. The first component in this process is a standardized PAR submission deadline and attachment. Under these guidelines, Enterprise Services must receive completed PARs with all required document or bureau approvals, one full pay period in advance of the effective date, which is by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on the first Monday, 2 weeks prior to a pay period. For each action type, there are standardized required attachments. The second standard guideline is an established customer notification process in which Enterprise Services provides electronic notification for late and/or incomplete PARs, missing documentation, and other processing issues. Managers have to give proxies initiator and approval rights in HRConnect for your proxies to receive notification, the same as the manager receives notification.
I had to do that the other day.
A clear and consistent customer notification process alleviates confusion on the status of PARs by alerting HRConnect initiators when and how they need to take actions to address issues with PARs. And the third guideline is a clear delineation of roles for Enterprise Services and NPC. So now we'll discuss the standardized process for PAR submission and processing with Enterprise Services. Next slide, please. For the late PAR policy, all PARs, including those that involve HRB approval, such as mass realignment, must be submitted to Enterprise Services with the required bureau approvals a full pay period before the effective date, which is by 11:59 p.m. on the first Monday prior to the pay period. As an example, for pay period 17, 2018, we can look at this calendar. So that starts on the 19th. The deadline for submitting PARs is Monday at 11:59 p.m. So any PARs received after August 6th or that are missing required documentation with a pay period 17 effective date may be processed for pay period 18. Enterprise Services will follow up with the initiator via email once they realize the PAR is incomplete. If they do not receive a response from the initiator, they will follow up the following day with an email and copy an HRB representative at NPC. The week before the first run of Pay As You Earn, or PAY, Enterprise Services HR Ops will send NPC HR a list of incomplete PARs to help follow up on. During the day pay run, Enterprise Services sends lists of actions at risk of missing pay. In reference to payroll run, the first run is the first Thursday after the close of the pay period, and the second run is the Friday. After the first run of pay, Enterprise Services sends NPC HR a list of actions that missed or rejected pay to determine a recourse plan with HR. If actions miss the second run of pay, NPC HR and Enterprise Services implement a recourse plan. The standardized process then repeats itself in the subsequent pay periods. Any questions before we go to the next slide? Okay. Next slide, please, Brother. The PAR processing process, an enables consistent service delivery, and clearly defines roles and responsibilities, and is provided for contextual knowledge. So with this chart, we begin on the left-hand side with initiators. Initiators, that is managers and proxies, are responsible for identifying the need for a PAR, gathering the required documentation, setting and confirming approvers based on their organization's business policy, and submitting the complete PAR in HRConnect. Approvers are responsible for reviewing actions in HRConnect and approving, canceling, and/or working with the initiator to update the action. The last approver must submit the PAR to Enterprise Services HR a full pay period in advance of the effective date with all required documentation. NPC HR is able to push back an action to the previous approver or the action initiator directly to HRConnect. In most instances, the last approver will send the action directly to Enterprise Services HR for coding and processing. However, there are a few cases where NPC HR is responsible for reviewing actions, adding necessary information to actions, including things like adverse actions and separations that HR will still be initiating out of ELRS, and also retirements. You will not have to do a PAR for someone's retirement. HR will still be doing the counseling and things like that. HRConnect has a predefined workflow that will route actions to HRB if they need approval. Enterprise Services HR Operations is responsible for receiving the PAR through HRConnect workflow, and they review the submission for completeness and timeliness, following a standard notification process in coordination with NPC HR. Enterprise Services HR Ops confirms actions are compliant with processing requirements, codes actions, and performs quality assurance review on all actions, including pay-impacting actions, and finalizes and submits the PAR to NFC for payroll processing. Any questions here? Next slide, please, Brian.
Got a question.
Oh, you got a question.
How far in advance can you submit a PAR action? I know you said 2 weeks, but is it 4 weeks?
Yes. And the demo will see how they advise us to do that for this specific type of thing. It's planned. Any other questions? Got any questions on the line, Brian? I have that little window reduced so we can see the full screen.
Sybil?
Yeah.
In previous times, we've been told not to submit a PARS action for like a transfer because once we submit that PARS action and it's approved, all of their access to the programs that they use and things of that nature is taken out. So we were told not to submit those PARS actions until the very latest that we possibly could. We ran into that with transferring employees from Data Capture Branch. We submitted them on Friday. They were working overtime on that Saturday. The PARS action wasn't supposed to be effective until that Sunday. All of their access was removed on Friday. And so we had to rush to try to get their access restored for their overtime Friday night and Saturday. So how is that going to work?
So people on the line, did you hear that question or do I need to repeat it? All right, let me repeat it best I can. Ricky, please correct me if I'm wrong. We have had some instances here when submitting transfer tickets that if we submit them too early, people lose the ability to use the programs they need to use to do their work until way before the date of the transfer. There was an example of submitting PAR actions. People were working overtime the last Saturday of the pay period. We're transferring the next day to another branch. And that Saturday there was difficulty in getting them in their accounts, because that had already been turned off due to the transfer process.
Did we lose the people on the phone?
Yeah, all on mute.
So we're not hearing anybody on the line. I don't know if Brian's got everybody muted. All right. Holly, will you write this down as an issue so we can move on? Yep. And then we'll add that to the things we need to address before Sunday.
Hi, can you hear me, Sybil?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah, apologies. I don't know. It's strange. I've got my phone in front of me, but also the webinar, so I think there was an issue with the muting and unmuting, so I apologize. We have Ted Pines on the line. I don't know if he'd be able to answer that question, but Ted, even if you know who we can follow up with to find the answer, you can feel free to let us know. Ted, any comment on the question that we just heard?
Morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So yeah, for a question like this on submitting transfer tickets, that is something that we'd probably have to get back to the ES HR Service Center on. So there are some points of contact that I can provide you, Brian, that we can reach out to them to get some clarity on the question.
Great.
All right.
Thank you, Ted. Yep. So I believe that
we're collecting all the questions and we'll provide everybody all the answers. Ricky, that's the first time that question has been asked. It's a good question. So it's a great question.
Exactly. Yes. So thank you for that question. And as Ted said, we're going to follow up with the right people to get you guys an effective kind of solution or answer to that question. So we will definitely follow up, and in our communication after these trainings, we'll make sure that everyone has that answer. So thank you.
Thanks, Brian. You want to go ahead and advance the slide? In the event that submissions are incomplete, HRConnect has two functions that allow HR to return a PAR. The restart function returns the action from Enterprise Services HR Service Center to its original initiator/requester within the Bureau. The pushback returns the action to the previous approver within your work list, one level at a time. Here's an example. A PAR has been submitted to your HR servicing organization and is in HR2 status. When the action is pushed back, the action will be routed to HR1. The pushback can be corrected, the pushback PAR can be corrected and submitted, or the recipient can push back the PAR to the previous approver. Pushback actions can be performed multiple times, all the way back to the initiator or the requester. Use of HRConnect restart or pushback functionality for an action requiring corrections will be determined by the error being addressed. Actions will be restarted. If the action is missing documentation, there is an incorrect code, the action itself is erroneous, the action contains incorrect billet numbers, or the majority of the data needs to be updated. Actions will be pushed back if an action contains incorrect accounting codes, is missing a required signature, or one data field needs to be updated. For restart and pushback notifications, users will receive one email from HRConnect, in addition to an email from the Service Center. As a manager, you will be able to view the status of an action in your group work list as restart if you are the individual that views bureau-wide reports. You will not be able to track restarted actions on the pending and processed action reports. So let's talk about those emails you'll receive. The first email from HRConnect is an automated email. It's one of those that I've probably routed to my clutter box. The second email, however, is from the Service Center, and it's sent by a person with more details about the reason for the restart and the pushback. And it's written by one of their resources, and it will provide further guidance to you. Actions pushed back or restarted may impact the timeline for processing. For customer service by the Enterprise Service HR Service Center, resubmission of PAR actions must be received by Enterprise Services no later than 11:15 p.m. Eastern Time on the second Friday of the pay period. If so, they would still be considered on time, not to be moved to the next pay period. If not received in time, the effective date will be adjusted according to processing deadlines outlined in the Guidance for Personnel Action Request submitted after deadline quick reference guide. This rule does not apply to expedited actions that have been identified as exceptions. Next slide, please. PARs can be initiated in HRConnect Manager Self-Service by managers, proxies, and the following HRConnect PAR workflows will automatically route actions through the approval and processing. For the example in the third workflow, please note that PAR processing for retirement refers to the action to process retirement and not for the counseling, which will again be conducted by HRB and not you all.
I had a question.
Oh, thanks.
So you kind of glanced over it, but I caught onto it because it was important to me. Actions that have been identified as exceptions. Where is the documentation on what constitutes an exception?
I think it's on the next slide.
Okay, because that would be quite important.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We do cover that. Next slide, Brian. Oh, maybe it's on the one after this. We do have it on the slide for you to highlight and take that. All right. And this slide, and it is by far my favorite slide in the whole presentation. I like the visual aspect of it. Initiator, that is the manager or proxy, identifies when a PAR needs to be initiated and collects all required documentation. Initiator enters action into HRConnect, attaches all required documentation, chooses and confirms approvers, and submits actions to the first approver in HRConnect. Each approver reviews action in HRConnect, confirms action is compliant with processing requirements, and approves the action, routing it to the next approver. Once the final manager has approved the action, the final manager should route the action directly to HR. For NPC, there are the standard 3 approval levels. And in some cases, the final approver may not be a person, it may be a group, something like NPC Finance or NPC ABC. Sometimes we use groups there. This fits into the manager self-service approval workflow, varying by type of action. Enterprise Services HR Service Center receives the action through HRConnect and reviews it for completeness and timeliness. If your action is incomplete, Enterprise Services will notify you electronically via both HRConnect and ServiceNow functionality. HRB can also push back the action to the last approver or restart the action by sending it to the initiator. If your action is late, Enterprise Services will notify you via email, but it may be processed at the beginning of the next pay period. The effective date of the action may be pushed to the following pay period. If your action is complete, your action will be processed and sent to NSC. Enterprise Services HR Service Center works the action and performs quality assurance before finalizing and submitting the PAR to the National Finance Center. The National Finance Center processes and applies actions as part of biweekly payroll processes. Any questions on this slide? Okay, let's move on. Here they are. It's the very bottom of this slide. I'll go over them. Here's an overview of simple steps called Know Your Part to ensure Enterprise Services can process your action on time. We'll review each of these steps in more details over the next few slides. So Todd asked, what are the exceptions? And the bottom of this slide says, the following actions will be expedited upon receipt for processing within current pay period, leave without pay actions, last-minute terminations, any adverse actions, cancellations, last-minute new hires, settlement cases, SES actions, and changes to lower grade. Expedited actions not included on this list will require an email from Bureau HR to ES HR Ops providing approval for the actions. So if you have an expedited action that is not part of that list, HR is working on their process for how they need to be notified here at NPC, because it came up yesterday in one of the classes that we needed that, and they will be communicating that to you. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please, Brian. The P in Know Your Part stands for Protected File Format. This step reminds you to always submit supporting documentation securely. First, attach required documentation through HRConnect attachment feature. If this is not possible, submit an incident to report the issue to Enterprise Services Contact Center on the portal. But please note, when you report that issue to Enterprise Services through the portal, you cannot attach the PII to that report.
What's your screen?
What? Oh, no, my screen again. Fourth time we've done this, and I've never lost my screen again. I'm having a technical issue again. I've got to get my screen back up. So again, you cannot submit PII directly through the help reporting function or in an attachment to that via the Need Help support feature. Let's move into the next component of submitting complete and timely parse, selecting and confirming your approvers. Next slide. The A in Know Your Part process stands for Approved by All Parties. As an initiator, you are responsible for selecting and confirming your approvers. This step reminds you to choose the correct approvers based on your Bureau's business policy and approval chain. If you are unsure of who needs to approve the action, consult your immediate supervisor. HRConnect functionality allows for 6 authorizer levels, but NPC has 3 authorizer levels. And for NPC, there are the standard 3 approval levels. And just remember that one of those may not be a single person. It may be a group, such as NPC Finance, that fits into the approval workflow, varying by the type of action. Next slide. The R in Know Your Part process stands for Required Documents Attached. This step reminds you to attach all required documentation to your request in HRConnect to help Enterprise Services process your part in a timely manner. Your screenshot there at the bottom of this page is from that quick reference guide, and then you can see it better, all the things you have to attach for a temporary promotion, NTE. Next slide. Oh, I'm sorry. Not next slide yet. Many actions require multiple attachments and supporting documentation. To determine which attachments are required for each type of PAR action, refer to the required attachments for managers for PAR's quick reference guide available to you on the Enterprise Service Portal. HRConnect does have a 5 attachment maximum, but some actions require you to attach more than 5 documents. To resolve this, you can combine multiple documents into a single PDF. Missing attachments are a common cause for delays of action, so please remember to attach all required documentation. If you do forget to attach a document, the Enterprise Services HR Service Center must obtain the missing documentation from you before processing, which may delay your action. The final piece of Know Your Part guidance is the critical step of submitting PARs on time. Step 4, T in Know Your Part process stands for timely submission. To increase timeline consistency and predictability for you, Enterprise Services established a standardized PAR submission deadline. This step reminds you that Bureau-cleared actions must be received by Enterprise Services a full pay period in advance, which is generally 2 weeks before the effective date. Note, late actions will become effective at the beginning of the following pay period. There are a few exceptions to this rule for actions that require expedited processing within the current pay period. Again, examples of such actions include leave without pay actions, last-minute terminations, adverse actions, cancellation, last-minute new hires, settlement cases, SES actions, and changes to lower grades. Expedited actions not included in the above list will require an email from Bureau HR to Enterprise Services HR Operations, providing approval for the action. Any questions on this screen? Next screen, please, Brian. Thus far, we've provided you with detailed information on the revised PAR processing guidelines, but we know that one of the best ways to learn and understand how these guidelines will impact you is to see them in practice. We're excited to have the opportunity to walk you through a few common actions via the HRConnect sandbox environment. So, Laura, you're going to take over again here and show this.
Sounds great, sorry.
That's okay. So she's going to log into the training environment and walk through initiating a temporary promotion, initiating a change to lower grade, and checking the status of an action through manager reports.
All right, that sounds great. So, Brian, I'm going to take over presenter from here. Okay, perfect. And you should be able to see my screen now. All right.
We do.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure I don't demo to myself. That would be interesting. All right. Well, today I'm going to show you this training environment. This is the same thing as the regular HRConnect environment, and I hear some people in the room who said that they're familiar with HRConnect, so hopefully I don't bore you too much with this. I have some funny names in my training environment here, so maybe that'll interest you. But so the training environment today it's a secured environment. It ensures that all personal information stays protected. So all of the names are made up and the information is jumbled or made up. So no worries about that. As well, the training environment, we do train multiple people, multiple different roles. So we're able to train like HR as well as managers and practices and things. So I'm going to demo just the manager part of HRConnect today and show you how to use manager self-service. But there's additional tabs and things that managers won't see. So if you just bear with me, I'll let you know what you can see. So a couple of things I want to show you. As I'm demoing manager self-service, I'm going to share some helpful tips along the way. But if you are looking for additional resources after this demo, I recommend going down here. You can scroll to the bottom of this login page here and click on this Connect to Learn. It's Treasury's training site. They have a lot of really good training materials for HRConnect. So if you are wondering about more about what do I do here, you can look on this website as well. And of course, starting Sunday, the portal will be live for you. You can go into the portal and find those QRGs, the quick reference guides. You can also find any knowledge articles. We've written a bunch of like how to access HRConnect, how to use HRConnect as a manager, how to monitor the status of an action, which I'm actually going to show you that today too. So those kinds of things you can find on the portal as well. So there's plenty of resources. And then if you have more questions after that, you can always contact the contact center via email or through the portal or over the phone too. Okay, so after you've authenticated, which some of you have already done and some of you might need to do, please do that by today. You can begin using HRConnect to help you initiate and approve actions on your employees. The first screen that appears when you log in, and so I'm going to sign in here. You can use your user ID or your email address and then your password to sign in. The first screen that appears is your My Team tab. In this, you'll find your direct reports in here. So these are the people who actually report via your reporting structure to you. You can also see on the left-hand side of the screen your work list and announcements here. So if you have a PAR action that has been routed in the workflow and now it's your time to approve the action, you'll see, as you can see here for me, I have an item in my group work list. So that I need to approve. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see that you can pick a proxy. A proxy is an individual who can initiate or approve actions on your behalf, so you can designate one of these people to you if that's part of your structure. All right, and before we actually get started initiating actions on your employee, I'm going to show you a little bit in HRConnect about how to see information on yourself. So in this training environment, my name is Vioral Duckville, and I am the manager of these following employees. I'm going to click on my info tab up here. This is something you can see as well, and show you that there's various things on this page. One is my info, where you can view and update your personal information. There's emergency contacts here that you can view and update. You can review your benefits or things like that. This is also available in the portal. And you can do SF50 notifications of personnel actions. If you scroll down, you can see tools and resources and various links to sites that you might have gone to before or you find useful. On the right-hand side of the page here, there's learning and development sites like CLC, which is the Commerce Learning site. That's another site where you can find good training material. And then up at the top here is EPP. It's the employee personal page, and this is a separate website as well, so it'll take you to that. There's also links to many of these things in the Enterprise Services portal too. All right, awesome. So now I'm going to show you how to go back to the home page and actually start initiating actions on your employees. So to get to the home page, which is the My Team tab, you can go ahead and click on this tab, or you can click on the home button up here, or go right ahead and just click on the logo of HRConnect. And I like to do that one because I don't seem to miss. Sometimes my mouse gets a little crazy over here. But if you click on the logo, you'll go right back to the home page. And let's initiate one of the most common actions that we see come through the Service Center, and that is a promotion action with an NTE, or not to exceed date. Promotions with an NTE date are promotions for a certain period of time, so these are often known as temporary promotions. So I'm going to go ahead and initiate one of these actions on my direct report. So let's pick Tukia for Bridgeville to initiate an action on. I've gotten pretty good at pronouncing these names over the past few days, so I think I'm doing better here. But up at the top, you can see information on Tukia. On the left-hand side, there's position information on her, where she works, her employment and salary information. If you keep scrolling down, there's leave and performance, bonus awards, education, and just more information that you can access. And if we scroll back up here, in this box on the right-hand side, there's personnel actions. These are all of the actions that you can submit on Tukia or your direct report. So I'm going to go ahead and find temporary promotion down here and start initiating this action. Okay, so next we'll need to choose a position to promote Tukia into. And since HRConnect is a position-based system, almost every action is tied to a position. However, if you can't find the position description in this list here, you can scroll down and you'll find a sentence at the bottom saying, if the position you need is not here, click here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and show you what that looks like. You can search for the position in this position description search page, or you can also submit a job code request. And to do that, you just go to submit a job code, enter in the information that you need, and all documentation that you might need as well, like a CD516 or organization chart, maybe a copy of the old PD, the position description, and any other additional information that's useful, and submit the request. But for purposes of this demo, we're just going to go back and pretend that the position that I want to promote Tukia into is in HRConnect. I'm going to go back. Takes me to the home page, so I'm going to click on her name. Scroll down to the position, click on temporary promotion. We're going to choose this administrative assistant. And now we'll begin filling out the information, like a proposed effective date. We're going to make it go live. So that sounds like a good date. Proposed not to exceed date. This is how long her promotion will last through. So let's just make it August 26th. And remember that date for later on. Because as an initiator, when you take you have to take action before this NTE date. And then we're going to need to attach the required documentation for this specific action. And if you don't know what that documentation is, you can always go to our required attachments QRG. Just go into the portal and look on the click on the search bar. You can type like required attachments or attach or anything, and you'll be able to find the QRG called required attachments QRG. It details the documents you need to upload for each of the actions that a manager can initiate in HRConnect. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to upload these attachments. So I clicked on the attachments link. I'm going to click add a document here, choose file, takes you right to my little folder here that I made, required documents for temporary promotion. I just double click that CD516 and I'm going to upload it here. Thinking about it. Okay, it added it. Add a document. Let's add a couple more. So we need the CD516 and choose file, upload the resume. All right, and add a document, choose file, and I'm going to double click on the signed temporary promotion letter and upload that as well. All right, so now I have all of my documents attached. If I accidentally uploaded something and I decided, oh, I don't want that one anymore, you can click on this blue square and delete that attachment out of here. But all of these are good, so I'm going to save and exit. Perfect, so saved, and then documents are attached. My feedback, so I know I've done what I wanted to do. I'm going to scroll down and make sure all of the information I have here is correct. And then you can add any comments or instructions, like providing the name and phone number of a person that HR can contact. So if HR has any questions, they can reach out to the person that you put in this box. And then you're going to scroll down to the authorizer list. This authorizer list, as you heard a little bit about before, it is auto-populated based on your reports to structure. And what a reports to structure is it means who in HRConnect one person reports to. So my name in HRConnect is Vioral, and my manager is Terry Tennysonville, I think. Yep. And so I report to Terry. So the first authorizer here populates with Terry. And then Terry reports to Tashone. Not even going to try on that last name. So Terry, when she approves the action, she's going to send it to Tashone. Tashone is going to send it to Saswati. And thankfully there's not a fourth name here that I have to pronounce. And then they send it to Human Resources, and that's called the workflow path. So this is correct. I want to send it to Terry, and now I can just go ahead and submit this action. All right, so it says your request is being processed. Thank you for using HRConnect. So everything is good, and I've just submitted my first action. So woohoo. And now don't forget, with temporary promotions, you are required to return the employee to their original position after the promotion expires. So if the temporary promotion expires and no new position is granted, then NSC, the National Finance Center, will not pay the employee. So I'm going to go ahead and just submit that change to lower grade now, put her back into her original position. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's click on Tukia. And I'm going to look in the Personnel Actions box and click on Change to Lower Grade. And I'm going to click on this position. And now we're going to begin doing the same things we did before, just making sure all the information is correct and adding required attachments. So let's go with the information. Let's go with other here. The proposed effective date, a little tricky. The proposed effective date, when we want this to become effective, is going to be the NTE date of the temporary promotion. So August 26th, that was the date I wanted you to remember. All right, and now we're going to attach the required attachments for this type of action. So I'm going to click attachments over here. And if you forget, just remember, go to that QRG, add a document, choose file, and I'm just going to click on this last one for purposes of our demonstration here. All right, so it's uploaded. You can see it's uploaded by me, and I'm going to save and exit. Great, so it's saved, documents are attached. I'm going to make sure all of the other information is correct. Any comments or instructions that I have here. And then scroll down to the authorizer path. Now, if Terry, for some reason, is not the person that you are trying to initiate or trying to send this action to, you can click on this magnifying glass and choose, using a last name or a group name or something, you can choose who the next authorizer should be if Terry is not correct. But it auto-populates with your reports to structures. So, all right, so everything looks good. We've got the information, the attachments, the authorizers. We're just going to go ahead and submit. All right, so I've got my feedback box up here that tells me that we have submitted this action. Thanks for using HRConnect. Okay, so all of the actions are good to go. They're now sitting in the workflow path. So they're sitting in that first authorizers box. So I want to show you what it looks like to an authorizer. And so I'm just going to play the part of an authorizer now and show you what's in my work list. So when something is sent to you and you need to approve it, this is what you will do. So you'll see here on the left-hand side that you have items in your group work list or that you will need to approve. And any announcements you get here, if you have these workflow notification settings turned on, which is what we recommend, then you will also get this as an email. So it'll say, you get an automated email saying, hi, you have something in your group work list. And then you log into HRConnect, click here, and you will be able to go to your work list. And you can change the information at the top for the work list that you are trying to take action on. Maybe it's an individual work list or a proxy work list. Mine is in this group work list, and you can also change the group type here. Okay, so here's the action. You can see that I need to process a retirement action. So I would go ahead and click on this, and it'll look just like the other page. Scroll down, make sure the information is correct and the attachments and everything's good to go, and then send it to the second authorizer. All right, great. So now if you're wondering, okay, so we learned how to submit some actions, we know how to work actions, but what about the actions I did submit? Like, where are those sitting right now? Where are they being worked, and who are they being worked by? So let me show you how to monitor the status of your action. And there's two ways that I'll show you how to do this today. One is through HRConnect, and one a second way is through using the canned reports that HRConnect has already houses on its website for you. So let's use HRConnect first. I'm going to navigate back to the home page, and this time I'll just click on the home link up here. It takes me back to my team tab with my direct reports. And then I'm going to select the employee of the action that I'm trying to find. So Tukia has the action, and I'm wondering, where are these temporary promotions and change to lower grades, where are they in the process right now? So I clicked on Tukia, and I'm going to click on pending actions. It's a little hidden. It's right up here above the personnel actions box. I'm going to click on that, and I can see these are the actions on Tukia right now. The temporary promotion, which we submitted first, and then that change to lower grade, which we submitted second. These are the effective dates of the actions, who it's assigned to. Remember, my manager is Tara, and I sent it to her. Whether the action has been pushed back or not, and the department, the action taken date, and then the status of the action right here. So both of these actions are sitting in requested status. And if you're wondering what any of the statuses mean because they will change, you can hover over this question mark and see a list of all the statuses and the description. So requested means action initiated in manager self-service, and that is what we did. So that is correct. All right, and now the second way that I'll show you how to monitor the status of your action is through canned reports. I'm going to take us back to the home page. And now we're going to go to the Reports tab. So the Reports tab is over here. Great. So this webpage, you'll be able to find any of the reports that you've generated before. You can see I've done this demo a couple times. And then you can scroll down and see other reports that are available to you. So as a manager, you will be able to see all of these ones, like an alphabetical roster. Maybe you want a list of all the employees in your organization, or a birthday report. You know, you're wondering who's got a birthday coming up in your office. And then a couple of the reports that I'll call out for the purposes of this demo is an NTE date report. This allows you to see all the NTE dates up for your employees, and it's useful if you're tracking different dates for multiple employees. HRConnect also sends you an email when an NTE date is coming up, so that's very useful as well. And the next one that I really want to call out is this action status report. This is a great report. It allows you to see where all of your actions are on multiple employees in the HRConnect workflow path. So let's go ahead and click on this report here. All right. And once my system loads, then you can enter your information at the top, the from date of, when do you want to pull actions that you submitted from and to. Let's go with the 12th. And then you can build your report on all employees in your organization, just your direct employees, the ones that were in that list. Any actions your proxy or you have initiated, you want to maybe build it on an individual employee, and then you can choose whether you want pending actions, and these are the actions that are in the workflow path, or if you want processed actions, and these ones are the ones that are already processed by HR. They've gone all the way through. So I'm just going to click on both of these and now build the report. So there's two ways to build it. You can click on submit here, and I'm going to go ahead and click it. That one's going to show you all the actions right at the bottom here. So I've only submitted these two actions. So these are the ones that are showing up here, and they're in requested status. And then you can also create report. So if I click on this create report button, it says print to Excel. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And now if I click OK, this is going to take me back to my reports page, and I can pull all of these actions to an Excel format. So the report that pulls here, this action status report, they allow you to all see the status of the action in that status column. But once it gets over into processing, the behind the scenes HR, you won't be able to see exactly where in the step process of HR that it is, but you will be able to see that it is in HR or the enterprise services. Enterprise services will process your action by the effective date if it's received with all the required approvals and the required documentation filled out correctly, a full pay period before the effective date. So that's why we stress those PAR guidelines, and I stress to you that I want you to check the information on each action and submit the required documentation. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's all I had in the demo today. But I'm really happy to answer questions that you have. I encourage you to please ask any questions. I can show you anything else with the HRConnect that you're wondering about. And so thank you so much for watching.
Any questions for Laura before she returns control of the webinar? No. All right. Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Laura. So I'm going to show my screen again with the presentation, and Sybil will start back with a knowledge check. I'm on slide 38.
So when do PAR actions need to be submitted to enterprise services? 3 days prior to the effective date, 1 pay period approximately 2 weeks in advance of the effective date, or 1 week before the effective date? B, correct. And the next question is, what does the P in Know Your Part stand for? All files are protected, all actions are processed, the PAR is submitted perfectly. A, all files are protected. Very good. Next slide is, oh great, thanks Brian. Let's take a second to review the learning objectives and confirm you feel comfortable doing these things. Understand common PAR processing keywords, describe the enterprise service PAR processing guidelines, and differentiate roles and responsibilities between managers, proxies, NPC, HR, and enterprise services. Understand the enterprise services notification process for incomplete and late PARs, along with the restart and pushback functionality, and understand Know Your PAR, support timely PAR processing. Are there any questions here? Let's move on to the next slide. So now that we've concluded our demos, we're going to wrap up our presentation with some next steps. But before we discuss those next steps, having completed this course, you're now able to access HRConnect, understand the roles and responsibility of Bureau HR, enterprise services, managers and proxies in the PAR submission process, communicate through secure channels when handling personally identifiable information, submit PAR actions with all required attachments for approval, identify and explain the impact of standardized timelines for PAR submissions, and troubleshoot common pain points in the PAR submission process. Next slide, please. We've put together the following table for you to refer to as you explore training resources related to enterprise services, PAR processing, and HRConnect. Two of your key resources as managers and proxies are the Enterprise Services Portal and the Enterprise Services Contact Center. We encourage you to familiarize yourself with the For Managers page of the portal. Also access the Enterprise Services Portal reference library to find hundreds of learning materials related to your role. The reference library contains quick reference guides and standard operating procedures that guide you through specific processes. Next slide, please. Thank you for joining us today for the Manager Self-Service Training. Your role as managers and proxies is key to the success of standardized PAR processing guidelines. For next steps, if you haven't already done so, please authenticate in HRConnect today. Complete the Enterprise Services Payroll and Benefits Employee role and Enterprise Services PAR Payroll and Benefits Manager role web-based training in the Commerce Learning Center. Starting on 8/5 or later on Monday, visit the Enterprise Services portal for announcements, resources, and support materials. Please go ahead and bookmark the portal, submit and track your PARs, and also please reach out to the Enterprise Services Contact Center, which is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, with any questions. Thank you for participating today and joining us for the Manager Self-Service Instructor-Led Training for NPC Managers. Are there any other questions?
I have one question.
Yeah, that's
So if we wanted to get a deferred promotion, we can go right back right after and read it, send them back to okay,
You have to do that before the NTE date.
but can I do it like same day? Can
The
don't
different-
forget? Okay, then I got another question. Then if you do that and then later on you decide you want to extend the temporary promotion, can you make a change?
That's the problem with doing it right away.
Can't make a change.
You can, but it's another PAR action you're going to do. The system will send you a reminder when you have people coming up on NTE days. That's very important. I know we do a lot of that here at NPC. That's why they chose that particular one to demo for us. Yeah, Todd.
In the past, we were always told on submitting requests that it's best not to request a bunch of actions for one employee that happen in succession and over a course of different pay periods all at once, because it could, I guess, have a problem where one would be processed too early or whatnot. In the demo, they submitted, the detail and then the return right there at the same time. I guess is that guidance now changing, or maybe that could be a question we could table later? Because, like, example, I have somebody who's doing a change. They're a part-time employee doing a change in their hours to change their hours in a pay period, and then 2 pay periods later, I'm changing it back. So I didn't submit the second one yet because I want the first one to be processed, but with the 2-week delay now, I guess that could be a situation where I'd have to submit them both at nearly the same time in order to meet the guidelines and requirements. So I guess I'm just looking for clarification.
So yesterday, Eric brought this to everyone's attention in the session about people's schedule changes that require a PAR action. So there's a special group working on guidance for that for us. So hopefully we will get that sooner rather than later, because it does require some planning on how those PARs are submitted, so that we can do it and meet the needs that we need to meet, both for requirements as managers, as employees need information, and then any CBA that might be in effect.
So will that guidance come out in succession with the go live, considering that as of the Monday I'm required to follow this new process?
I hope to have it. I know the group has met about that. It's mostly focusing on mixed tour folks, but this falls right into it as well. So you're on a variable part-time schedule, right?
I have a part-time employee, yes.
So I would think in that situation or any situation similar, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but the system should be smart enough to detect, especially if you have dates, which one comes first and which one comes second. I don't know, but I'm glad to know that somebody's going to be looking into it. But if we have a system that is that hampered, then the problem might be larger than just trying to figure out what date.
Yeah, I spoke with Annette this morning about questions that came up yesterday, and she gave me a resource at NPC to make sure is talking to ES, because she said who in HR could help guide this process, because she's done it.
And sometimes,
so she can work with ES to get us some.
Sometimes we did things based on the system we had before,
right,
and we have never really used HRConnect to the potential that was available.
Yeah.
So I think, Todd, what you're bringing up was a problem that we had before we actually went to HRConnect, and we never tried to see what would be different if we actually used the tools that we have. So I'm interested to see.
real benefits of what we've been learning through this process, Aretha, with having some standardized operating procedures that are in line with what Commerce is used, what other agencies are using.
Exactly.
We're finding things out and learning, and we'll have better capabilities. So thanks for bringing that up. Somebody on the line wanted to say something too.
Yeah, thanks, Sybil. It's Laura here. And Ted, please feel free to join in if you so wish. But I was just going to try to answer that maybe a little bit here. I think there is official guidance that has come out from our operations team, but I know that our Chesapeake Service Center has kind of like internally set like a 3-par limit on the same effective date per day, because on the back end, the HR will have to, even if you submit all the actions at the same time, HR has to order the actions in the process that makes the most sense and will work to process all of your PAR actions. So I'm not exactly aware of a maximum number of actions you can submit like per pay period or something, but it more just has to do with the daily transactions that'll get picked up on the outbound. So I would recommend, like probably not more than 3 on the same effective date per day. So yeah, that's what I've heard so far, and we can get definitely more guidance and official documents sent out.
Any other questions? Well, I want to thank everyone for coming today. Just as next steps go, they've been updating the PowerPoint after every session.